Okay, thanks, Linda. So data protection, as the name would suggest, is emphasizing the need to protect and secure data we acquire whilst we go about our operations as payment service providers. And what it essentially does is to stipulate how this information is stored and protected, and what this information can be used for or not used for. So we see this trend in one way or the other globally, with other jurisdictions coming up with certain centralized controls or regulations to manage this aspect of our operations. The EU, for instance, has the GDPR, that's the General Data Privacy Regulation, which handles this portion of our business for that jurisdiction. Now come to Ghana, we have the Data Protection Act, and that specifies essentially what this information on customers can be used for and the implications if we have any sort of non-sanctioned use. So some PSPs are going to find during this process that you have to refine how internal access to your data is structured, because there are certain sanctions. For instance, you could go to jail for selling personal information of your customers without their permission. And this is not something that had been brought to the fore earlier. So fortunately for us in Nsano, we already had these policies in force, and we acquired our certification in 2016. So it wasn't a difficult shift, but it's a very important part in the process of acquiring your license. Medium PSPs and any certification above that would require a data protection certificate and must comply strictly with the provisions in the Act.
Okay, Solace, when you're speaking, I find it very interesting that you could actually go to jail for selling customers' data without their permission. So I think most people will think it's just data. What's the big deal?
Yes, top level, it seems so. But aside from all the other implications that we see happening, one of the most important ones for me is with regards to fraud prevention. In terms of some of the use cases we are seeing in the industry pertaining to fraud, are usually because some companies are lax with their data, and certain people get their hands on it. So it's important that we safeguard this information. So this is the next major learning for us, and from a platforms and products perspective, preventing any fraudulent or illegal transactions on your platform is integral to everything you do. And we recognize that there is a big impact on the entire industry if we do not safeguard and protect our customers, because it will lead to loss of trust, which also impacts everything we do essentially. So at Nsano, what we typically would do is to organize staff trainings on fraud prevention and security, and we emphasize this through our AML CFT policy. We understand what non-adherence to this policy would mean and the implications for our business and the industry as a whole, and this is drummed down throughout the team. So we are striving to create this environment that does not encourage or enable fraud, and it's a continuous process. I have to say that even after acquiring your license, there are several use cases that we meet on a daily basis, and we must adapt to fight off some of these new cases as they appear. So internally, our policy was in place, our structures were in place, and you find this exhibited through our product review process, which is something Linda really champions internally. A product would have to go through so many levels of checks and balances, and we would need to ensure that at least certain basic requirements on our checklist are met. So example, your transaction limits, the appropriate restrictions on who can access what and what they can do with that access need to be looked at. Aside from this, we also have our internal fraud monitoring platform that analyzes transactions as we process them real time and can be updated with various fraud rules in line with our learnings in the industry and the new trends that we see coming up. So it's a very important learning for us, because you would have to structure your organization to be primed to discourage fraud and money laundering.
Thanks for that, Solace. I think a question just came in on fraud because you just spoke about it. The person wants to know, can other fintechs use our fraud platform?
Absolutely. Any PSP who processes their transactions through us is able to use our fraud platform because, like I mentioned earlier, we are doing this monitoring real time, and this has led to us adapting as and when we go along. We learn from the PSPs and they learn from us, and it's more collaborative. And this is basically the next major learning I would like to speak about. That is how we collaborate with other PSPs in the industry. What we appreciate with our enhanced license is that we are able to partner, use the services of any PSP regardless of what their license looks like. And also in partnering, we are able to ensure that the standards and quality of service are maintained across board. So regardless of whatever category you'll be going through, the regulation now allows us to collaborate on certain products or even to sponsor each other with going live with some of the products that we have. And we just need to make sure that we are aligned on these basic requirements that the regulator is asking for to safeguard the entire ecosystem.
So, Solace, I've gotten another question. I think this is an interesting question. I think you all find it interesting. So someone wants to know, is Nsano made up of only ladies, or do ladies form the majority of the people in Nsano? Solace, I think you should take this.
Yeah, we get this a lot. I would have thought people were used to it by now, but yeah. Nsano, surprisingly, doesn't have a majority of our team being female. However, majority of our executive team are female. And you would find that in a lot of your interactions with Nsano, you come across women at least on a daily basis. It's not an intentional thing. We have a lot of guys in-house, but it's just what it is. Women are able to perform as much as their male colleagues, or better in some regards. So we are here. We just make sure we get the work done.
I think that's true, Solace. So on the back of Solace's explanation on data protection and fraud, I think we should throw more light on customer protection, which brings us to our 10th learning. At Nsano, we've always had a belief in empowering our clients with the needed knowledge and security awareness to help them navigate and safely use our platform and products. We put in efforts to make sure that the information we provide on our products and services are easily available to the customers, and we strive to also meet the SLAs proposed by Bank of Ghana. With regards to customer complaints, the central bank has created an avenue for customers to be able to report PSPs that are unresponsive to their customer complaints. So for example, as seen in the Payment Systems Act, a customer may appeal to the Bank of Ghana if, for instance, they did not receive an answer from their PSP after 20 working days of lodging their complaint. So that avenue has been created for customers to now leverage upon and get their issues resolved in time. So with this in mind, for prospective applicants, I think we'll have to pay more attention on how we handle customer complaints.
I think it seems like Bank of Ghana finds customer protection very important. So as PSPs who are looking to apply, something to take note of.
Right.
So let's switch it up a bit. Let's talk about money. L'argent. Let's talk about money. So on capital requirements, which is our next learning. Linda, do you remember when we thought we had to pay 30 million Ghana cedis as capitalization for the enhanced PSP license?
I think I remember this just like yesterday, but I think it was further reduced to 2 million Ghana cedis.
In terms of count, 2 million is still not a walk in the park, and that one's
Well, I know that for the medium PSP license, it's a cool 800,000 Ghana cedis. And for the standard, it's zilch, zero. I mean, like nada. You don't pay anything. I think we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for us at Nsano, I think in the course of our application, we learned that we did not have to deposit the entire amount of money with Bank of Ghana. 50% of the capital requirement can be placed in a designated account by the Bank of Ghana, and the remaining 50 can be placed in a company bank account or met with non-current assets. So for those who are looking to use non-current assets, bear in mind that these non-current assets will have to be certified by a certified valuer to determine their true value. I remember at the time, Solis running around the office counting the number of air conditions we had. So apart from the capital requirement, one thing for me, as we move on to our 12th learning, that I found interesting was, I'd always thought that when it comes to applying, the only amount of money you need was the capital requirement. But interestingly, there are some fees that you also have to pay. So I want to bring to the forefront that there are 3 types of fees that are there aside from the capital requirement. So the first fee we had to pay was the application fee. And for us as Enhanced, you have to pay 12,000 Ghana cedis for your application fee when applying for the license. And then the second thing we had to pay was the license fee itself. So once you submitted your document to Bank of Ghana and they approved and they want to give you the license, you're expected to pay a license fee. For the enhanced category, which we participated in, we had to pay 40,000 Ghana cedis. And then the final fee is the renewal fee, which you pay every 5 years after receiving the license. And for enhanced, I think the amount was, 7,000 Ghana cedis, if I'm not mistaken. So based on the type of license you're applying for, there are definitely some fees to consider planning for as well, apart from the minimum capital requirement you have to provide. So in terms of the application process, we at Nsano work with a third party in preparing all our documentation and paperwork. But from experience, I think my advice to any PSP that wants to handle the process internally is to have a dedicated team whose main focus is to complete the process within a specific period of time. If you don't have that available, you can also choose one person whose KPI is dependent on the successful receipt of your preferred license.
Okay. So ladies, I think we've gotten to the 13th and final learnings of this conversation, which is sponsorship. Priscilla, if you could please talk to us more on sponsorship.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite part of the conversation. So this is important for standard and medium PSPs. So Bank of Ghana requires that standard and medium PSP applicants will need sponsorship on an enhanced PSP. And for us as enhanced, the typical way we'll have to sponsor is to provide a letter confirming our decision to sponsor the standard or the medium PSP, or to show an agreement between ourselves and the standard or medium, detailing that we are committed to sponsor the PSP. However, because of liability shift rules, both of us, us and the standard or medium, will have to work together to ensure that they've taken the necessary measures internally to remain constantly compliant with the requirements of BOG. So for me, I think if you're on this call and you're interested in applying to a standard or a medium, there are a host of reasons why you should consider Nsano as your enhanced PSP sponsor. So for us, our focus has been to sort of accelerate the development in the payment space. And we've developed a proprietary platform called DevBox that will support medium and standard license acquisition by offering free consultation and recommendations to encourage companies remain afloat before and after December 2020. So DevBox has been positioned to give PSPs and even regular developers access to all payment APIs in the ecosystem to further drive innovation in the space. We have a seamless onboarding process and a minimal documentation requirements to make the process smooth for you. So, I mean, if you're interested in having Nsano sponsor you, if you're thinking of applying for a standard or medium, or you're a developer that just wants access to our APIs, kindly visit the link on the screen and then request for access, and our team will contact you.